Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Deva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Agnanatindarandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tastam Gurave Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarvrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Canto 4 Chapter 7 Verse 50 Sri Bhagavan Vacha Am Brahma Cha Sarvascha Jagatah Karanam Param Atmeshwara Upadra Drashta Vayan Drig Avisheshanaha. Lord Vishnu replied, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and I are the supreme cause of the material manifestation. I am the super soul, the self-sufficient witness. Self-sufficient witness doesn't depend on anybody else. But impersonally, there is no difference between Brahma, Lord Shiva, and me. Lord Brahma was born out of the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva was born out of the body of Brahma. Lord Vishnu is therefore the supreme cause. In the Vedas also it is stated that in the beginning there is only Vishnu, Narayana. And there was no Brahma or Shiva. Similarly, Shankaracharya confirmed this Narayana Paraha. Narayana or Lord Vishnu is the origin, and Brahma and Shiva are manifested after creation. Lord Vishnu is also Atmeshwara, a super soul in everyone. Under his direction, everything is prompted from within. Anuvantopadrushta. For example, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Tene Brahma Hrada. He first educated Lord Brahma from within. So, whatever this giving direction, Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, he says that Rishikesha. He says Rishikesha, he is the master of the senses. And he says, for a pure devotee, Krishna completely controls his mind and senses. Completely. And for others, to the extent of their surrender. So which means that he is, for pure devotees, he is sitting within and directing directly a super soul. So like for Brahma, he first gave education, educated him. That's why Krishna says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So as a super soul, he is directing. In fact, even for non-devotees, the intelligence actually comes from Brahma only, from Paramatma only. Based on Jiva's previous karma, desires, etc. Paramatma reminds the Jiva, okay, you last life you wanted to, you were trying to achieve this. Okay, now continue. Because once we change our body, we forget everything. So only this, through the super soul, that super soul actually, Paramatma only reminds us. So he is Atmeshwara, super soul in everyone. Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna states, Aham Adir Hi Devanam. Lord Vishnu, Krishna is the origin of all demigods, including Brahma and Shiva. In another place in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. I am the Prabhu of everything, or everything is generated from me. And this includes all the demigods. Similarly, in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Ataha, and in the Upanishads, Yato va imani bhutani jayante. All these verses or sutras are just telling that everything is coming from Vishnu. Everything is maintained by him and everything is annihilated by his energy. Therefore, by their actions and reactions, energies which come from him create the cosmic manifestations and also dissolve the whole creation. Thus, the Lord is the cause and also the effect. Cause and effect meaning cause is the Lord and the effect is material creation, which is also the Lord. Whatever effect we see is the interaction of his energy. So whatever we are seeing in this material world is the interaction of his external energy and Tatastha Shakti, Jiva. And because the energy is generated from him, he is both the cause and effect. This in this way it is said he is both the cause and effect. In this way it is said that he is the material creation. Simultaneously, everything is different and the same. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Because everything is coming from Parabrahman. And everything is Brahman. So material or spiritual, everything is coming from him only. Only difference is that when certain things that are coming out from him, from his external energy, have some temporary nature. The energy itself is eternal. Energy itself is spiritual because it's coming from Krishna. But it is being used in a particular way which makes it look material or temporary. Mm. But actually, it's all spiritual only. That's why a pure devotee, he just sees everything. He sees Krishna in everything. That's all. So for him, there is no material or spiritual. Only for conditioned souls, there is material. Mhm. So everything is spiritual. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. In the highest vision, nothing is beyond Brahman, and therefore Lord Brahma and Shiva are certainly non-different from him. So everything is Brahman. That way they are non-different, but actually they are different. So here Vishnu himself is saying impersonally. That means from a Brahman energy perspective, there's no difference. That's why Prabhupada here has added this word impersonally. आत्ममायां समाविश्य सोऽहं गुणमयीन् द्विज सृजन् रक्षन् हरन् विश्वं दद्रे संज्ञां क्रियोचिताम्. Or continued, my dear Daksha Dvija. I am the original personality God, but in order to create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy, and according to different rates of activity, my representations are differently named. So the Lord is uh, Daksha is the Prajapati. So he's supposed to know all this. He's supposed to know Brahma's position, Shiva's position, Vishnu's position. But he acted otherwise. He acted like he was in ignorance. So Vishnu is actually just explaining to him how he has to see this material creation, how he has to see this material energy, how he has to see Brahma, how he has to see Shiva. And basically he's advising him saying that you shouldn't have acted that way. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho. The whole world is energy released from the Supreme Source, the Personality of Godhead, who, it is further stated in Bhagavad Gita, acts in superior energies and inferior energies. Superior energy is a living entity who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. As part and parcels, the living entities are not different from the Supreme Lord. The energy emanated from him is not different from him. That way, everything is him only. But in the actual activity of this material world, the living entity is under different qualities of material energy and in different forms. There are 84 lakhs life forms. The same living entity acts under the influence of different qualities of material nature. The entities have different bodies, but originally in the beginning of creation, Lord Vishnu is alone. For the purpose of creation, Brahma is manifested, and for annihilation, there is Lord Shiva. As far as the spiritual entrance into the material world is concerned, all beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but under the covering of different material qualities, they have different names. But Brahma and Lord Shiva are qualitative incarnations of Vishnu, Gunavataras, and Vishnu with them accepts the control of the quality of goodness. Hmm. So Vishnu is the source, but he is also taking up one portfolio of taking care of quality of goodness. Therefore, he is also qualitative incarnation like Lord Shiva and Brahma. Actually, the different names exist for different directions. Otherwise, the origin is one D. So just again, like basically the idea is Lord is telling Daksha, saying, the They're qualitative incarnations, they're taking different roles, so they are differently represented, but everything is me. And I act through material energy. So whatever is happening is Lord only, Supreme Lord. तस्मिन् ब्रह्मण्यद्वितीये केवले परमात्मनि ब्रह्मरुद्रौ च भूतानि भेदेनाग्नोनुपाश्यति. Lord continued, one is not in proper knowledge, thinks that demigods like Brahma and Shiva are independent, or even thinks that the living entities are independent. Nobody is independent. The living entities, including Brahma, are not independently separated, but are counted within the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord being the super soul in every living entity, including Lord Brahma and Shiva. So Prabhupada is saying that Paramatma is there even in Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is not like Brahma, not like ordinary Jiva, but still he's saying Paramatma is there in Lord Shiva. So he is directing everyone in the activities of material modes of nature. No one can act independently of the sanction of the Lord, and therefore indirectly no one is different from the Supreme Person. Because of this logic that no one can act independently, no one is different from Supreme Person. Supreme Person himself has taken different forms. Certainly not Brahma and Rudra, who are incarnations of material, of passion and ignorance. यथा पुमान् स्वाङ्गेषु शिरः पाण्यादिषु क्वचित् पारक्य बुद्धिं कुरुते एवं भूतेषु मत्परः. A person with average intelligence does not think the head and other parts of the body to be separate. Similarly, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu from any thing or any living entity. So this is the Uttama Adhikari vision. Topmost devotee. He doesn't differentiate. Everywhere he's seeing Krishna. Whenever there is disease in any part of the body, the whole body takes care of the ailing part. Similarly, the devotee's oneness is manifested in his compassion for conditioned soul. So Prabhupada is saying that when the different devotee is not differentiating, he's seeing that, yeah, originally, or the Jiva or the Atma is actually non-different because he's part and parcel of Vishnu. Because he's stuck in the material world, he sees that oneness, as in he's seeing the uh, Tatastha Shakti of the Supreme Lord, Jiva, struggling in different material situations, and he feels compassion. This is the vision of a devotee. When Vishnu here is saying, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu from anything or any living entity, that oneness he is seeing in terms of the Jiva being part and parcel of Krishna, but he manifests it as compassion because he cannot see them struggling, suffering in this material world, separate from Krishna. Bhagavad Gita says, Pandita Samadarshinaha. Those who are learned see everyone's conditional life equally. See, very nice this is. This is how we have to see. Everyone's conditional life equally means it's not that their conditions are the same, but we have to look at them equally. Meaning, okay, some jiva has taken the form of a dog, some jiva has taken the form of a president, some jiva has taken the form of a sweeper on the road. But that's their conditional life. But that all conditional life are equal. Meaning we don't have to like make difference in the sense that one is higher or lower just because of their karma. Right? But the compassion has to be there for all jivas. Of course, this does not mean that we go and put our hand in the mouth of a lion. Because we have to understand their conditioned behavior. So we should see only the Atma and the Paramatma. And see that the Jiva is stuck, conditioned. Devotees are compassionate to every conditioned soul. And therefore they are known as Aparakya Buddhi. So we have to show compassion to every Jiva. We have to reflect upon this actually. How many of us are actually compassionate towards other living entities? If we are compassionate, we would be ready to do anything to promote Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, Prabhupada's movement. But most of us are still self-centered. We are just thinking about our own, maybe material progress, spiritual progress, family, comfort, this, that. We still possibly not come to the stage of being compassionate, looking at others and feeling bad for their conditioned state. Because we are looking at ourselves and thinking, hey, what is the use? I'm also doing bhakti, I'm still suffering. So even if I give it to somebody else, what will they benefit from? How will they benefit? But that's not the right vision because maybe we are not doing it right. So, of course, the first thing is that we have to understand the process. We have to understand the power in the process. We have to adopt it wholeheartedly. And we will also experience tremendous change in our life. And even if we don't experience tremendous change ourselves, just because we are not doing something properly doesn't mean that the process is wrong. And we can see so many other people around us who are benefiting from the process of bhakti. So we should feel compassion. Oh, this Jiva is also struggling, being away from Krishna. Let me bring him or her in contact with Krishna. Yare kaho, yare dekho, tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. So we are approaching uh, one of the actually for me the biggest festival, Gaudiya Vaishnava festival, mm, Sri Radhastami. Because it's only her compassion that we fallen souls can approach Krishna. And her compassion is there for every jiva. But the job of delivering that, compassion to the jivas has been given to devotees. Process has been given by acharyas, but the actual taking the process to conditioned souls has been that is the function of devotees. And Radharani is most pleased. Not when we sit and hear about, some leela of hers without really understanding her position and then maybe, saying, I enjoyed. She doesn't exist for her enjoyment. She exists only for Krishna's enjoyment. And she will actually feel happy when every jiva is offering service to Krishna. That's her happiness. Mm. Prabhupada always says she's mother. She shows so much compassion. So we cannot just be, yeah, I did my sadhana, I'm doing my work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Real mercy of Srimati Radharani one can get by being compassionate towards the conditioned soul, which is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means we should simply remember Radharani's mood. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may be Krishna inside, but really his whole existence is Radharani. Just that Krishna wanted to experience certain things, so he's there inside, experiencing. But what is he experiencing is present in the mood. I mean, he's experiencing the mood of Radharani, which is which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is presenting. Mm. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us what externally? Distributing this compassion. Because devotees are learned. And of course, devotees have to be learned. Learned with what? With just Srila Prabhupada's purports. That's all. We should keep reading again and again and again till these things become fixed in our thinking, in our knowledge. And know that every living entity is part and parcel of Supreme Lord. They preach Krishna consciousness to everyone so that everyone may be happy. The Prabhupada is clearly saying what we should be doing. This is an imperative statement. He's saying they preach, meaning we should preach. We should preach Krishna consciousness to everyone so that everyone may be happy. Of course, Krishna consciousness is the process of happiness. We are just, because we are not wholeheartedly accepted it, we might not be experiencing happiness. That's all. If a particular part of the body is diseased, the whole attention of the body goes to that part. Similarly, devotees care for any person who is forgetful of Krishna and therefore in material consciousness. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said the only uh, what is lacking in the material world is just Krishna consciousness. Everything else is there. Hmm? See, the equal vision of the devotee is that he works to get all living entities back home, back to God. All. Please note this, all living entities. We are struggling to even work to get all human beings back home, back to God. Forget about all, even few. Hmm. This is the equal vision. See, Krishna Prema will manifest in our heart only when our heart melts with compassion. Our heart has to melt. That heart is not going to melt. Today, our heart is hard hearted, steel framed, because we don't feel sorry for by looking at any jiva. When we feel, yo, poor thing, struggling, let me help, then our steel frame is getting dismantled. Then that hard heart is melting. And only when that hard heart melts in compassion towards other living entities will eventually Krishna Prema manifest. Krishna Prema cannot manifest in a self centered, selfish, hard hearted heart. Cannot manifest. And the compassion is not lip service. Oh, no, oh, poor thing. But what can I do? That's not compassion. That's just cheating, lip service. What you cannot do. Definitely, devotees are more fortunate than any other jiva. And that compassion has to, yeah, of course, okay, everybody may not be able to preach as in, yeah, take a class or something. But if somebody, if one devotee sees somebody else suffering, can't he or she just bring them to the association of other devotees, to a satsang, to a weekly program, to temple, etc., etc.? Can't we do that much? We don't want to do because we are worried about our false ego. Oh, if I tell that person, if that person doesn't come, or he says, eh, what is this? This is all waste of time or something. And then how will I feel? But that's self-centered again. So we should understand. See, this is the whole Radhastami mood. This is the Radhastami mood. Many times we talk about, preparing consciousness for the first festival. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in fact, this is the only consciousness we need to have throughout the year. There's no special consciousness. Somebody asked me, I said, just yare dekho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. Just go and preach. That's all. That is the mood of Radhastami. There's nothing else. Which is why Prabhupada even on Radhastami used to just give, I'm not body, I'm spirit soul. Because unless we come to that platform of accepting I'm not body, I'm spirit soul, how will we go and preach? त्रयाणाम् एकभावानां यो न पश्यति वैभिदाम् सर्वभूतात्मनां ब्रह्मन् स शान्तिम् अधिगच्छति. Lord continued, one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva or the living entities in general to be separate from Supreme, and who knows Brahman actually realizes peace, others do not. So we have to see this, we have to come to this Brahman platform, seeing everything. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Two words are very significant in this verse. Trayanam indicates three, namely Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. Vidam means different. They are three and therefore they are separate, but at the same time they are one. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Example given in the Brahma Samhita is that milk and yogurt are simultaneously one and different. Both are milk, but the yogurt has become changed. In order to achieve real peace, one should see everything and every living entity, including Brahma and Shiva, as non-different from Krishna. No one is independent. Every one of us is an expansion of the Supreme Lord. This accounts for unity in diversity. There are diverse manifestations, but at the same time, they are one in Vishnu. Everything is an expansion of Vishnu's energy. Maitreya Uvacha. Thus, Daksha, the head of all Prajapatis, having been nicely instructed by the Supreme Lord, worshipped Lord Vishnu. After worshipping him by performing the prescribed sacrificial ceremonies, Daksha separately worshipped Lord Brahma and Shiva. Lord Vishnu should be offered everything, and his prasada should be distributed to all the demigods. This practice is still followed in the temple at Jagannath Puri. There are many temples of demigods around the main temple of Jagannatha, and the prasada which is first offered to Jagannatha is distributed to all the demigods. The same thing can be done even, like the people are doing different demigod worship. This is the mode of demigod worship. Even if one has to worship, we don't have to, but yeah. The deity of Bhagalin is worshipped with the prasada of Vishnu and also in the famous Lord Shiva temple of Bhuvaneshwara. The prasada of Lord Vishnu or Lord Jagannath is offered to the deity of Lord Shiva. This is the Vaishnava principle. Vaishnava does not deride even ordinary living entities, including a small ant. Everyone is offered proper respect according to his position. The offering, however, is in relation to the center, Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. Devotee who is highly elevated sees that relationship to Krishna in everything. He does not see anything as being independent of Krishna. That is his vision of oneness. Hmm. So this is the vision of oneness. Seeing Atma everywhere, seeing Paramatma everywhere, but respecting them according to their position and feeling compassionate for them. This is the mood in which we have to see other jivas. I'm repeating, seeing the Atma Paramatma in every jiva, respecting them according to their position, but feeling compassionate for their lack of Krishna consciousness. Of course, when it comes to interacting with Vaishnavas, then we know there is Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. This is for the rest of the jivas. And this is the overall um, framework or vision or how we have to actually interact with this world. This is the way we have to interact with this world. रुद्रं च स्वेन भागेन ह्युपाधावत् समाहितः कर्मणोऽध्यवसानेन सोमपानिता इतरानपि उदवस्य सह ऋग्भिः सस्नावबभृतं ततः. With all respect, Daksha worshipped Lord Shiva with his share of remnants of the yagna. After finishing the ritualistic sacrificial activities, he satisfied all the other demigods and the other people assembled there. Then, after finishing all these duties with the priests, he took a bath and was fully satisfied. Lord Rudra Shiva was properly worshipped with his share of remnants of the yagna. Yagna is Vishnu, and whatever prasada is offered to Vishnu is offered to everyone, even to Lord Shiva. Sridhar Swami also comments in this connection, Svena Bhagena, remnants of the yagna are offered to all the demigods and others. Thus, worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu by the ritualistic performance of sacrifice, Daksha was completely situated on the religious path. Moreover, all the demigods who had assembled at the sacrifice blessed him that he might increase his piety, and then they left. Although Daksha was considerably advanced in religious principles, he awaited the blessings of the demigods. Thus, the great sacrifice conducted by Daksha ended in harmony and peace. Maitreya said, I have heard that after giving up the body she had received from Daksha, Dakshayani took her birth in the kingdom of the Himalayas. She was born as the daughter of Mena. I heard this from authoritative sources. Mena is also known as Menaka and is the wife of the king of the Himalayas. Ambika, goddess Durga, who was known as Dakshayani, again accepted Lord Shiva as her husband, just as different energies of the Supreme Person of Godhead act during the course of a new creation. So she took birth from Mena, daughter of Himalayas, and she married Shiva. According to a verse of the Vedic mantras, Parasya Shakti Rudaiva Shruyate, Supreme Lord has different varieties of energies. Shakti is feminine and the Lord is Purusha, masculine. It is the duty of the female to serve under the Supreme Purusha. And we should understand everybody is feminine, only Krishna is Purusha, so everybody has to serve him. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all living entities are marginal energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is the duty of all living entities to serve the Supreme Person. Durga is the representation in the material world of both the marginal and external energies. Okay, this I didn't know. And Lord Shiva is the representation of the Supreme Person. This is Shambhu. The connection of Lord Shiva and Ambika or Durga is eternal. Sati could not accept any husband but Lord Shiva. How Lord Shiva married Durga as Himavati, daughter of Himalayas, and how Kartikeya was born is a great story in itself. Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, I heard the story of Daksha Yagna, which was devastated by Lord Shiva from Uddhava, a great devotee and disciple of Brahaspati. The great sage Maitreya concluded, if one hears and again narrates with faith and devotion this story of the Daksha Yagna, as it was conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, then certainly one is cleared of all contamination of material existence, O son of Guru. With bhakti bhavataha, with faith and devotion. If one hears with bhakti bhava, then agham dhunoti, agham, material contamination, dhuno, dhona in Hindi, clears off. So hopefully we very, with faith and devotion, heard this Daksha Yagna. So we should be cleared of our contamination little more than before. See, this is the beauty of actually Bhagavatam. Every part of Bhagavatam that we read, there are blessings, phalashruti. We are getting benefited with every hearing, every session. We are not actually doing this Shravanam. Of course, we are doing Shravanam for Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana, to understand about the Supreme Lord more. But really, the effect is just the Shravanam purifies us. And every Shravanam is purifying us more and more. And that will manifest as, in terms of increased sadhana or dedication in service, you know, deterioration of material entanglement. So many ways it will manifest. As long as we're not doing aparadhas, that's the only thing to be considered. As long as we're not doing offenses, actually every reading, every word, every syllable is beneficial to the jiva. Okay, so with this we've completed this Daksha episode, Daksha and Shiva episode. Next is Dhruva Maharaj. I don't remember. Have we studied Radha Tattva before? I don't know. Anybody remembers?
No problem.
In these classes? No, right? Okay. So what I want to do from tomorrow till Sri Radhastami is to understand Radha Tattva. Okay, so we're going to be reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, Adi Lila. Okay, so this is the most important chapter actually for Gaudiya Vaishnavas to understand. Because if we don't understand who Radharani is, we won't understand what we are supposed to do, why we are here, etc., etc. So we have to understand her. So we'll read from this chapter 4. Actually, multiple times I've read this chapter, but I just feel that every day I should be reading this chapter. It's actually so powerful. It actually sets us on the right platform, on the right mood, as expected by our acharyas, as expected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as expected by Srimati Radharani herself. So we're going to do this reading, and I request all of you to please try and repeat this to others. Tell this to others. Share this with others. At least practicing devotees, everybody, irrespective, they should know this. And I generally know that most of the katha that we hear are more pastime based, but pastimes actually only come after the tattva is clear. The rasa comes after tattva. That is why rasa also has rasa tattva. So there is Guru tattva, there is Vishnu tattva, there is Bhagavat tattva, then there is rasa tattva. So rasa tattva has to be understood. Without that rasa tattva, it will result in either rasabhas, right? That means incompatible rasas, or just bhakti abhas. Bhakti itself becomes abhas, like semblance, or whatever we do seems like bhakti, but it's not bhakti. So this tattva is very, very important. Otherwise, we are thinking that any activity which looks like bhakti is bhakti. No, and that's not true. That is why there is bhakti and there is bhakti abhas. So if we are doing bhakti abhas, then we'll not achieve Krishna. If you are doing bhakti, we'll achieve Krishna. And that bhakti abhas is also called Mishra Bhakti. So these things we have to understand, and rasa is very, very important because what is Bhagavatam saying? Mm. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam. It is alaya. Bhagavata is rasa alaya. It is the house of rasa or the abode of rasa. And in the Mangalacharan, Bhagavatam said, Pibata, drink, not little drops. Gulp it down. Pibata, Bhagavata, Rasamalaya. So we have to drink the rasa. That is the ultimate Krishna consciousness. But now what we are doing is without understanding tattva, we are trying to drink the rasa, then it is becoming very sour or we don't like it or it's really of no use. I mean, it's of use, but it's just everything is of use because everything is so powerful and purifying. But that's not the real right mood to do bhakti. Yeah, Nakul Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, can you speak
Prabhu,
up a bit, please?
question that, we are.
I can't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Yeah, my question is we are discussing Daksha Yajna where Shiva stories all comes. So, what is the position of Shiva and with what mode we have to worship Shiva, Prabhu?
Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu is considered as the topmost Vaishnava. Just like we worship other Vaishnavas, we pray to them for mercy to make progress in bhakti. We try to follow in their footsteps. Same thing we have to do with Shiva. Shiva Tattva is very, very, very difficult to understand. So simply, like maybe we can do that some other time. But what we should understand simply is we have to worship. We have to worship Shiva just like other Vaishnavas. Like suppose we do um, Tirobhavtiti, Avirbhavtiti, and the mood is begging for mercy. The same thing we can do with Lord Shiva, and he is Ashutosha. He is so easily pleased. So if you actually take shelter of Lord Shiva, uh, taking shelter means just begging for mercy. That's all. I mean, which is actually Prabhupada said we can even do Shivaratri, for example. But the problem is whenever we do anything connected to non-Vishnu, uh, then people just it just goes in a wrong direction, right? Then we will start doing Abhisheka to, I mean, then the whole mood of begging for mercy goes off, and then it'll become ritualistic. It'll become religious. It will not remain on the proper platform. So, but that is why Prabhupada said, no, no, we don't need this. Mm. But actually, we can remain, Shivaratri comes, you can remain all night, begging for mercy, read Rudra Gita from Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna. And that's what Shiva wants us to do. Actually, in this Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Gopakumara goes to Mahesh Dham. And when he goes to Mahesh Dham, he's seeing Lord Shiva is dancing. And Ganesha, Kartikeya, Parvati, everybody is in, that all doing Kirtan, Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Mahesh Dham. So he is the topmost Vaishnava. He's all the time, you know, in the dhyana of Sankarshana. Mm. So our mode is just please, you're so merciful. Mm. You're even in Kashi, the dying soul, you're taking Rama's name. Please be merciful unto me. Please give me strength to make progress in Krishna consciousness. This is the mode. That's all. Okay. Anything else? Okay, then we'll conclude. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyavata, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. And please preach.
Thank you, Prabhu.